Welcome to Detroit for the 13th round of the ERL INDYCAR series. As you can see, the drivers heading off to start their pace lap around a track where we only run 13 laps. That includes the 2 preparation laps that you don't see on camera before the first lap that you do see, this one. As you can see the pack heading down the hill. Let's go through the running order, or at least the starting order. Prix will start this race on the soft tyres at the front of the pack, the Hyperdrive Racing. Then it's INDYCAR and Kwon Todoroki, the 2 Andretti drivers right behind the Hyperdrive man, hoping that they can steal all of that hyperdrive from the Dutchman in the 99. Please don't make fun of my jokes. Then it's Lil Buns, Mikyon Gurovich, Linus Eriksson, and Francis Austin. Then Niven Colby, Carsten Thornburg, and this man Milsos Micah starts 10th. Behind him is Lewis Olsen and Salas Kynes in the 55. You can see that Apex Pinnacle with their new livery, which is basically just an inversion of the livery that they were running prior. Then it's Elliot Deli on the hard compound tires, David Kamino, Slash Sand, Hexel Mark, Ghosted, Tommy and Messian, both those drivers with the hard tires strapped on. Ewa Path, who is ready to make his move to the ERL Formula E series. Then it's Inokiu and Davi Sir Carrera. And KV Racing, they're qualifying a tale of 2 halves. One of them's in the top 5, the other one right at the back. Revolution's got both drivers at the back of their pack, but you know how well those 2 seem to handle everything, to be honest, as well on board with Prix in the 99. And for Ewa Puff, that promotion to Jaguar, well, there was really no real idea of the fact that he was actually going to take it up. Of course, this was caused by Gabo announcing his retirement, followed by Remy taking that seat, meaning that there was an open seat at Kiro, which becomes Jaguar next season in Formula E. And as for who would have taken it, of course, we've got all 22 drivers here in the INDYCAR series. Marcus Nelson, of course, because he's losing his seat next season for just a single season. But also Zach Wallace. He was thinking of moving from McLaren, but he was just too slow compared to the Scotsman. Pace car is pulling into the pits at the end of this lap. It'll be Prix who will lead us away. And this pace lap has been unbelievably long. Of course, we only have 10 laps around here. But for Prix, can he take victory in a hyperdrive car? Few drivers have actually done this in either the FG or INDYCAR series, but he's got the 2 Andrettis right behind him. What can Kwon do from 3rd? Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys! Down the hill they come. The top 3 come through turn number 1 cleanly and in single file. Heading down the hill through 2 and 3, we're about to go with Prix. And he maintains the race lead. Kwon Todoroki, caught by Lil Buns off the line. Didn't actually get a good start from 3rd. Here comes the Ukrainian alongside him in the 5. Kenny's trying to send it down the inside in the KV Racing Lotus. Looks down the inside but forces Kwon off the track. And he's going to have to try again later. Ghosted, track limits warning, that's his first of the day. You get 4 of those and it's a slam dunk time penalty. And Okyu's dropped to the back of the pack with Davi Sir Carrera moving up to 19th. Ewa Puffer has had a brilliant start up to 17th position already as we're watching Sir Carrera. In fact, 16th for Ewa Puff in the Dragon Penske car. Eriksson's got track limits warnings already, but Prix still leads. Saf San getting past the Brazilian, side by side with the Brazilian rather. And the KV Racing number 19. Of course, originally driven by TJ Davis, it was 3 prior. In fact, look at that, that is Kamino going alongside Delhi. Side by side they go. Lil Buns time penalty for colliding with Kwon Todoroki. 9 laps to go. Fastest third sector goes to the Japanese driver. Down the inside goes Linus Eriksson. No, Francis Austin on his own teammate in Linus Eriksson. They remain side by side. Push to pass is available on this lap. As they rise up the hill, that is Bonds and Gurovic going alongside each other. No, that's Bonds and Todoroki going alongside each other. The Japanese man doesn't have push to pass, and he's going to drop down the order if he's not careful. He's dropped to 6th with a time penalty for causing a collision with Francis Austin. Meanwhile, Thornburg has found his way up into 8th. There goes Kwon back up into 5th position, but he's going to have to build up a little bit of a buffer. A bigger buffer than what he probably would have expected to want to build up. How many times am I going to say gonna wanna? Who am I? Kendrick Lamar? Probably not. Delhi, he's actually created quite a bit of a gap between himself and Carlos Sainz, and maybe this is some smart team play from Chip Ganassi to put Elliott on those hard tyres, because they know that they're not quick. So if they put him onto those tyres at a track as quick as this, then the field are going to have to try and do what they can to get past him. It's like if you've got a train in front of, I don't know, one of the actual ERL cars, in fact. If you put a tram in front of it and you put it on a road while you're in the middle of a high pursuit chase, you're not going to get past and win that chase anytime soon. Down the inside comes Delhi past Hexel, and I think, yeah, that's Puff trying to follow him through. You can see the soft tyres beginning to show a lot of wear as Kwon's dropped to 7th. Thornburg's gone past. Carson Thornburg is in front of the 33, but here comes the Japanese driver. What can he do? Sends it back down the inside and still can't get past as they head through the second sector, the winding second sector that turns this track into a power track, into the most balanced track that you can ever find on the calendar. And Kwon still trying to close in on Carson right in front of him. And the struggle for the 33 today is whether or not he can try and get himself back into the championship hunt a lot easier. Because heading into this race, the gap was 9 points. As it stands, it's 12 heading into the final round in Laguna Seca. As they head through the final sector, and Qui's pulled 3 seconds on board car. Gurovic closing in on the Andretti green driver in front, and it just doesn't seem like the mediums have the pace that teams expected them to have with 6 to go. Floodlights are already on. Of course, we run this race quite late in the day, so that might explain that partially, but still clear skies. Puff comes in. What tires are going on? Those are hards for the Dragon Penske driver, so he can make it to the end quite comfortably. No penalties for him, but now the question is, what will he do with that strategy? Bortkite watching in his mirrors. Lil Bond setting it up into 3rd position. Track limits warning for Gurovic as she reclaims 3rd position in front of the KV Racing driver. Hexel Mark, track limits warning, his 2nd one of the day. As Francis Austin on board with the Arrow McLaren SP driver, getting past the KV Racing Lotus of Lil Buns. That is, if he can just hold on, but he can't. Hops over the curb. He's behind that green and yellow Lotus car. Camno gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits. Very rare to get track limits penalties in a track like this. Yes, I'm aware I'm saying this right off the Barber. What happens in Barber stays in Barber. But they rise up the hill. Qui still leads here in Detroit. And he comes into the pits for Hyperdrive Racing. The 99 who leads comes in. 37% tire wear, did quite a few laps on those softs, and then he's strapping onto another set. Gurovic follows him in. Held for a little bit of time, held for a lot of bit of time, but he did build up quite the gap. Kwon, with all of his nearby contenders pitting, is now in 3rd, but of course could be a lot better. Where's he going to come out? Is he going to be ahead of everyone else that he came in with? Yes, but he lost time in the pits. Still going to be a little bit of a worry for the number 99 as to whether or not he can actually hold on, as Puff heads down the main straight in 22nd, moves up to 19th. A few dark clouds over Detroit, which is rare. Olsen getting a track limits warning. The radar did say that this race is going to be likely to remain dry, but of course, do I know the easiest way to have a wet race? Or just a wet day at all if you're having a drought? Invite some motor racing over. It'll be absolutely soaking for the rest of the year. With 7 to the checkered flag. Is it 7 to the checkered flag? It's not even 7, it's 5 to the checkered flag. I can't math anymore, you see. Borkar still leads. Kwon is second. Ericsson is third. And where is the championship leader? Carson Thornburg is in 16th position. As through the chicane comes Kwon Todoroki, into the pits comes Max Borkar. I think the smartest thing to do down at Andretti Green right now is to wait. And see if there's any rain, if there's a full course yellow, or anything like that. If there is, then they'll strike gold. If not, they can bring in Kwon and put him onto a set of softs. Put simply, I think either option for Kwon Todoroki is gonna do him just fine, even with that 5-second time penalty. Prix currently in 6th position, and yes, in front of all the drivers who have pitted. You are path by pitting early. Well, he's dropped down to 16th alongside Lewis Olsen, but still better than where he started, so you gotta factor that into consideration. Kwon's actually built up a gap to Elliott Delhi. 6 seconds, that's the margin, but the pit delta around here is about 15, which is the gap between him and Thornburg. He needs to get a move on here, else he will fall behind the man he's fighting with the championship. Hexel Mark getting a 3rd track limits warning as we're watching his teammate. Hexel is down in 21st position, so that's shocking to get that to happen to you. As here comes, is that Prix? Yeah, that's Prix going past, and wow, look at the state of the mediums on an Q's car. 25% for Kwon Todoroki. These guys probably lucky that they aren't trying to go to the end, because if they were, that would be, in one word, scary. As here comes Prix, there goes Prix up into 3rd position. For he, into the pits comes Kwon Todoroki, and Elliott Delhi will be leading. I don't know why I decided to do that for part of that sentence, but you know, just have a little bit of fun. An RQ comes into the pits. Elliott Delhi, he's the man we're running on board with. He's the man leading. Let's take a little look back then with the number 38, if we can. Yeah, I think that looks about right. There's a silver bullet right behind you, Elliott. Are you going to move out the way for him? I guess he is, since he's got pushed to pass. Prix takes the lead in Detroit. He's alongside him still, in fact. He's not actually in front. He's still behind him. Delhi is defending this. I'm not too sure why. Delhi's not in the championship fight, and he's still yet to make his first stop. Those soft tyres are going off the cliff. What tyres did Todoroki come out on? He came out on softs, and he's down in 21st. So he's hoping that other drivers have major tyre problems. And you know what? If Delhi's going to have problems, and others will too. We're going to check on Carson Thornburg for a second here. 67% tyre wear. With a lot of this race still to run, there are going to be some drivers who are going to attempt the 2-stop as Prix finally takes the lead. There are going to be some drivers who will try and do the 2-stop, and I know for a fact that Todoroki is not one of them. He's going for the 1-stopper as Gurovic up into 2nd position. Look at the state of those softs, 56% as they go into lap 9 of 11. For all those fallen troops on 9/11, R.I.P. Even though it was so long ago. Messian comes into the pits. 9 laps on the hards is, in one word, insane. But it is something that Delhi's trying to do, as Austin up into 6th position right behind Carson Thornburg, who I believe will get pushed to pass. Rounding this little kink, he's right behind his teammate. He doesn't have pushed to pass, but the one who does, Francis Austin and Milsos Micah up into 4th position, and Ericsson 5-second time penalty for colliding with the Chip Ganassi of Elliott Delhi. As Thornburg going alongside, ghosted further back, 5-second time penalty. No flags being waved, so no real worries, unless your name's Carson Thornburg, in which case 7th position is not doing you any good. Thornburg does have the possibility of winning this race, he just has to leave here with a lead in the championship greater than 26 points. As it stands, he's not going to do that. He needs to be on the podium to have any chance of doing that. He needs to finish 2nd or higher, and full course yellow out of the race has gone an RQ. An RQ out and a puncture for Carlos Kynes. Front puncture for the number 55. This might shake up the race for a certain Elliott Delliott, as he's in 7th with tyres that need to get off of that car. Same thing for Tommy. For you a puff. Got it right eventually. Should be fine to the end of this. But Gurovic leads in front of Prix. Full course yellow is ending. Carlos Kynes right in front of Messiaen. But the Spaniard gets past cleanly. And it's on this penultimate lap. But Prix closing in on Gurovic. As it stands, the championship will roll over to the final round in Laguna Seca, which, for the sake of everyone watching this championship, probably better, especially considering how comparatively mid this race has been. And with Todoroki down in 17th, and yes, he is making his way through the field, he's going to have to do it at a quicker rate than he is right now if he's to try and, take anything out of today's. As Carlos comes in for his 2nd stop, Prix is closing in, so is Bortcar. Bortcar is actually much closer to the back of the hyperdrive man than he is to Gurovic, and she's had an absolutely magnificent race so far, to be honest. On this penultimate lap, the 35, of all the drivers who could be leading this race, the 35, certainly one of the more deserved. If it was someone like Carlos Kynes right now, then, here comes Prix to try and get past Bortcar, and if he can keep the pace up, could try and get past Gurovic as well. Into the final chicane they come. That's Bortcar going around the outside. And this is going to go to the line, isn't it? On to the final lap here in Detroit. It's Gurovic versus Bortcar with Prix, the supporting act. Thornburg gets a time penalty for causing a collision. Collision almost made there as Bortcar's taking the lead. Gurovic is going to get pushed to pass, coming out of turns 2 and 3. Up the hill they go, side by side. Gurovic is gunning for the race lead. She's taking it. Into the lead goes Mikoyan Gurovic. Brilliant stuff from the 35. It's coming through 4 and 5. Tyre wear and tyre life, that's going to be the main thing of complaint for the guy and girls down at Dragon Penske's. Milsar's getting a track limits warning. Gets passed by Thornburg. Bortcar closing in. You are par for the track limits warning too. The front 3 tyre life, it's very low, but 16% should be fine to the end. Messiaen fastest first sector of anybody, 27.233. So you can see the top 3 now come through the final sector, and for Mikoyan Gurovic, pulling out that gap is exactly what she needs to do to confirm victory in Detroit in the penultimate round of the first season of the ERL INDYCAR series. This is exactly the type of thing that you have to be prepared to do. Rounding the final turn, it'll be Mikoyan Gurovic by a thread in front of Bortcar and Prix, the top 3. Then it's Linus Eriksson, Carson Thornburg just in front of Micah. Then it's Austin, Lil Buns, Sir Carrera in 10th, then Saf Sad in 11th, right in front of Quan Todoroki. Elliott Delliott! Oh my goodness, out of this race has gone you above! Oh, we were on board with the Chip Ganassi man. My goodness me. Now, on the topic of Thornburg's time penalty, he's dropping down to 10th. He drops to 10th position, which increases his championship gap, yes, but only to 1 point. That is going to leave a mark on his championship hopes, and for you apart, as he heads to Jaguar, he needs to get these crashes out of his system and fast. Because he can't be doing this in the big boy Formula E cars. As they head through the chicane. And Carlos Kynes, real unlucky for him, but of course the Pinnacle car isn't actually that great either. Confirmation then, Mikion Gurevich taking victory here in Detroit from Max Bortkar, happy to be on the podium, finishing where he started, and Oakwe, happy to be on the podium, with 2 places down from where he started. Then, it's Milsos Micah, Francis Austin, Lewis Olsen, and Lil Buns from the Linus Eriksson. Davy Carrera, 3 points for the fastest lap. Then it's Carson Thornburg with that 5-second time penalty. Saf Sandit is 11th from Quan Todoroki and Elliot Daly. Then it's Axel Mark, Nevin Colby, David Camno, Tommy Sebastian Messian, Ghosted, and Salas Kangi. Finishes the non-finishers were Theo Puff and NRQ. In the driver's standings, Carson Thornburg leads the way in front of Gurevich, Austin, and Todoroki. And in fact, the gap at the top, being 11 points down to Lil Buns, means that the championship fight heading into Laguna Seca is between Thornburg, Gurevich, Austin, Todoroki, Buns, and Colby. This is the biggest title fight in ERL history. Following them is Milsos Micah, Elliot Daly, Lewis Olsen, Linus Eriksson, Davy Carrera, Ewa Puff, Oakwe, Tommy, Talos Kynes, Hexel, Mark, Saf Stan, Max Bortkar, and Not You Ghosted, David Camno, Sebastian Messian. In the constructors' standings heading into the final round in Laguna Seca, where exactly 43 points are on offer, plus 1 is 44. Chip Ganassi leads the way from Sims Motorsport and Aaron McLaren SP. Then it's KV Racing Lotus, Dragon Penske, and Andretti Green. Following them is Hyperdrive Racing, Revolution Racing, Apex Pinnacle, Premier Power Team, and Power Motorsport. Well, with all of that, there's only one more to go in the ERL INDYCAR Series. See you guys tomorrow then for the Laguna Seca Grand Prix in the ERL INDYCAR Series.